You're kissing my neck and grabbing my leg, pushing me backwards into your bed. Baby, you are all I need, but I don't wanna dive too deep, too deep.
Hey guys, and welcome to a new video here on Phloshop. My name is Joseph. In today's video, I'm taking you behind the scenes on a night portrait shoot that I did a couple of days back with Agolaye and some friends. I'm also going to run through the gear that I used. The reason why I decided to do a night portrait is for a long time I've been doing a lot of indoor shoots and I wanted something different and a little bit more interesting. I also didn't want to do an outdoor shoot in the daytime because you've seen a lot of those on my channel. So I just decided to do a night portrait shoot as I have an LED light that I'm always using indoors and I've never tried it outdoors. So when I had this idea, I began to think about the kind of lighting that I was going to use for the shoot. And I didn't want to use my flash, my Godox AD600BM, or even my speed light. Those would have worked, but it means that using the strobe, I would have had to use like the lowest power. But I have a Godox SL60 LED light, and I've never used it to shoot any portraits outdoors. So this was the perfect time for me to test it out. You know, the Godox SL60 is not battery powered, so providing power to it was going to be a challenge since we're going to be on location. I have a power bank that can provide enough power for the Godox SL60, and that's what we use on location. Location is really important when you're doing night portraits, and we decided to go to Osu to shoot on the Oxford Street because that's one of the busiest places, even if it's daytime, afternoon, or in the night. So we had a ton of lights, and we also have like so many people doing so many things, and that's another thing I want to move on to, especially getting your models to be comfortable. We're shooting outdoors. Osu is a very busy place, so you need to make sure that your models are comfortable. You can crack jokes, you can make them laugh, play music, do anything to take their minds off all those distractions and focus on you and give you the best shots that you're looking for. So on the streets of Osu here in Accra, there were so many lights on and we had a myriad of places to be able to shoot from, but we had to carefully select what was going to complement the outfits, and so there was a technique that we used to find the perfect background or backdrop for our images. The way we went about it was initially focus on the subject, and then with your finger press halfway on the shutter, you can move the camera around and look for areas that are going to look pleasing in frame. If you're looking to recreate some of these images, there's just a few things that you need to pay attention to. You need a very fast lens, so anything from like 2.8 to 1.2 would work really well. And you also need long lenses, so anything from 70, 85 to 200 or 500, if you have those, would work really well. Looking at all the focal lengths I have mentioned, I have an 85 1.4 from Sigma, and that is what I decided to use for this shoot. The aperture you shoot at is generally what's going to determine the rest of the camera settings you're going to be using for the shoot. So me using 1.4, I now had to turn the camera to the model and now adjust my ISO and shutter speed plus the light to get the lighting conditions right for the shoot. Because we're going to be shooting on a busy street, I didn't want to have a setup that was going to draw so much attention to us. So I decided to use a very small softbox, which is my 25-inch Beauty Dish from Glow. I also took my reflector along just in case the shadows were going to be too deep for my liking. So let's just jump right onto the screen. I'm going to show you some of the images from the session. So jumping onto my screen, I want to quickly run through some of the images and tell you what I observed. So starting off with the first image, even with the size of the modifier we're using, we're able to get enough light to light up from top to bottom, which is really good. But if I zoom in a little bit to her neck, you'd see that the shadows are really deep and dark, and it's adding more contrast, which is fine. But if you look at the next shot where I went a little bit closer, if I zoom to her neck again, you can see the shadows that were deep and dark in the previous image are not there, and that's because the reflector is bouncing the main light back onto the subject, and that is taking away the deep dark shadows. So if that's the look you're going for, always carry a reflector along. It's gonna come in clutch. Also, when you're shooting along the road like I was doing, you need to pay attention to where the cars are coming from, because in the next image, for example, we had this car headlight in the frame and it added this huge flare, which could also be another stylistic approach. It's fine, it's not a bad shot, but it's just something you need to pay attention to when you're shooting along the road. Now, I was using f1.4, 1/200 of my shutter speed, and ISO 4000, still with my Sigma 85mm lens. And I wanted to get a little bit more of a dramatic shot. So what I wanted to do was try and reduce a lot of the ambient lights that we were seeing and darken the background. So in the next frame, you see that even though we are still shooting outdoors and we are using our LED lights plus the ambient lights, we have a lot more contrasty image. And if you look at my settings, I'm at f1.4. I increased my shutter speed from 1/200 to 1/400, and then I dropped my ISO from ISO 4000 to 2000. And what that's going to do is it's going to reduce the amount of light reaching your sensor, thereby darkening the image or adding a lot more contrast. But even with this, you can still add a reflector, which is also going to open up the shadows to reduce the contrast and make your image or subject pop off the background. So in the next frame, for example, you can see, again, if you want to tell that there's a reflector in the frame, you can always look in the eyes to catch light. So you can see, if I zoom in a little bit more, this little one is from the main light and the one below is from the reflector. So if you look at the image, you'd see that if I go back, under her arm and under her neck have deep dark shadows, but in the one where I use a reflector, the shadows are gone and she looks a lot brighter compared to the background. So in the next frame, you'd see that this is where the light was coming from. So we have the modifier right above, it was boomed, and then the reflector was below, and that was bouncing the light from this main light back onto the subject to light her up a lot more. So whilst we were there, we just decided to take a few more frames, and we took the opportunity to make a change into another outfit, and we kept shooting. When we started off shooting, the area didn't have a lot of ambient light, and that's why the images were so contrasty. But if you look at the next frame and in the next outfit, where we were had a lot more lights around, and so even those were influencing the kind of images we were getting. And I dropped my shutter speed to 1/160, which is also going to allow a lot more ambient light into the sensor, making the image a lot brighter. So upon taking a few more images in this location, we also saw that there was this other location right here which had these red lights, and I felt it was really going to complement the outfit she was wearing, to have like warm tones in her outfit and warm tones in the background. So also look around all the time and find locations or backgrounds that are going to work really well with the outfit that the model is wearing. And we just took a few frames in the same spot, different angles. So you can see here I was shooting almost at eye level, but I also went a little lower to shoot from a little below, and that changed the perspective.
Another bottle of this wine, I'll be up in your space, loving affection. Ain't got nothing on me, no, that's not what I need. Maybe on another day, I'd encourage you to make me stay, but baby, I'm just trying to numb my brain and wrap my head around this whole thing. When you're kissing my neck and grabbing my leg, pushing me backwards into your bed, baby, you are all I need. But I don't wanna dive too deep, so I pick up my clothes and be on my way. Leave you a note saying I can't stay. Baby, you are all I need, but I don't wanna dive too deep, too deep. I think I learned my lesson. You can love somebody else until you're loving yourself. I need some direction before we dive into these sheets. Maybe on another day, I'd encourage you to make me stay, but baby, I'm just trying to numb my brain and wrap my head around this whole thing. When you're kissing my neck and grabbing my leg, pushing me backwards into your bed, baby, you are all I need. But I don't wanna dive too deep, so I pick up my clothes and be on my way. Leave you a note saying I can't stay. Baby, you are all I need, but I don't wanna dive too deep, too deep.
So that's it for today, guys. Let me know what you think about the video. If you enjoyed the images that you saw, leave a comment down below. If you're new and you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.